Hello again. Chris Lee of Southeastern 16, joined by Alfred Ezman, Graham Doty. We are here to preview SEC weekend action. We've got 4 teams playing classics. We've got every other team in the league playing a series, a 3-game series against some other team. We're going to run through these pretty much rapid fire and give our predictions on each of these. We will talk about each series, some more than others. Let's start here, gentlemen. Probably the headliner this weekend, Arkansas going to Arlington, Texas. It will play Kansas State, which helped eliminate the Razorbacks in their season a year ago. TCU, perennial powerhouse, and Michigan, a team that has had one of the more surprising runs in the college baseball season, handed Virginia, which is number 2 in the polls, its first loss last weekend. We talked with Phil Elson in an interview that we will air Friday, guys. But what are we looking for from the Razorbacks this weekend? Alfred, I'll start with you.
Yeah, well, they probably have revenge on their mind, first and foremost, against Kansas State. They probably want to hand it to those guys after what happened in the Super Regional a year ago, or I'm sorry, the Regional a year ago. I'm being too kind to the Arkansas fans, just the Regional. But they probably have revenge on their mind and whatnot. Michigan also stands out, obviously. They were in Puerto Rico and are 4-0 this year. And then a top 5 win over Virginia to start their season. So they're a team you don't want to mess with and don't want to get cute with. Those are the things that stand out to me. This is kind of the first test for Arkansas against some half-decent competition. So I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, my main takeaways, especially after talking with Phil Elson, the voice of the Razorbacks, you can tell they're deep, especially on the mound, but also they got options as far as like, do we want to start this guy? Do we want to put him in the bullpen? They just seem to be in really, really good shape pitching wise, but also like I think my big takeaway from our conversation with Phil was just he believes and the staff believes at Arkansas that they're going to be able to hit this year. And their game plan, they want to be able to hit the ball over the head of the outfield, not just home runs, but doubles, triples, and then they want to be super aggressive on the bases. So it feels like they recruited a certain type of kid from the portal, junior college, high school, whatever, to try to address this, because it just kind of seems like the last couple of years offensively, Arkansas hasn't been where they want it to be. So they're starting to address it. And this will be a big test this weekend for Arkansas just to see what they look like. Not only level competition wise, but also that's a big ballpark in Arlington, and just how that will shake out this weekend.
All right, let's give picks. We'll go Alfred, Graham, me, and all these. Just tell me how you think the team's good. You don't have to say, well, they beat this team and lose to that team. Just give me Arkansas goes X on the weekend. We'll do that for all these. By the way, before we do that, to give you a second to buy some time, welcome Sam Smith to the program. He says Samford and Sons sweep this weekend. I think he's referring to the Samford Bulldogs, which I think there's a little sarcasm here in Sam. Because if Samford goes to Knoxville and sweeps the Vols, and we'll get into that in a minute, we'll really have a story. Donovan, a resident Auburn guy, just started watching baseball a few days ago. Is Auburn good at baseball? Yeah, pretty good. Who are the best baseball programs in the conference? Hey, that's why you got us. We're here to sort all that out. Anyway, Alfred, now that I bought you some time, how does it go for Arkansas this weekend?
Yeah, the one thing I noticed last weekend in Arlington when I went to watch Texas and Ole Miss, it seemed like every single team other than Arizona, who had a bad weekend, played pretty well, but they had that one game that was kind of a goof-up game, is what I called it. All of them had that. I think that's going to be a similar theme with all the teams there this weekend, although there's less teams. I do think that's still going to happen. So I'm going to go Arkansas goes 2-1. Looks pretty decent. They're going to have one game that makes fans turn their head like this, but other than that, they handle business and get 2 wins in Arlington.
Look at Alfred, just like he was just there the other day and witnessed all this in person. So I agree. I think they're going to win at least 2 games. And if everything goes really well, they got a chance to win 3. But again, it's what makes these tournaments fun. You're playing different opponents every day. So, matchups are definitely a thing as well, like who you face, when you face. So I think Arkansas wins at least 2 games this weekend with a chance, if they really click on all cylinders, they could definitely win all 3.
Yeah, I think our heads are in the same place with this. Baseball's a weird game with weird bounces and weird breaks. And there's some good opponents in this. TCU, a perennial powerhouse. Michigan, I think Tracy Smith is a coach there now. He's been at Indiana and Arizona State, had a lot of success at Indiana. think he's the guy that got them to Omaha. Michigan took Virginia down last weekend. Not a program gets a lot of coverage. Sometimes you just don't know what you're up against. Nobody goes unbeaten in college baseball. I'll go the Razorbacks to win 2 or 3 this weekend. Not sure which ones they are. All right. The next series that catches my eye, I think, is probably Oklahoma going to Houston. It will face Minnesota, a Big Ten team that has had some success time and time again. Oregon State, a top 10 power in college baseball, currently ranked number 7 at D1 in Virginia, which lost a game to Michigan last weekend, yet did not drop from that 2 spot in D1 baseball. It is playing in the Karbach Round Rock Classic. I think the headline here, guys, that the pitching, the Witherspoons, Kate Crossland, Cam Johnson threw well last week, and the bats, Oklahoma swung it, a little bit of a bandbox park. But let's just go, because I'm afraid if we don't just do picks, we're going to run out of time. Just give me your pick for the outcome and why. Alfred, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I know Virginia lost to Michigan, but I still think they're a hands-down top 10 team in the country, along with Oregon State. This is, I think, a lot tougher of a field than what Arkansas got in Arlington. Oklahoma does get the benefit of some rest because their UT Arlington midweek got postponed for now. So I think that helps Skip Johnson's team just a little bit. I do think they get a win there. I think they might struggle a little, though, against Oregon State and, it's blanking on me. Virginia. There it is. I think they struggle against those teams. So I got 1 and 2 for Oklahoma. They do get Minnesota in there. Sooners proved me wrong this weekend, but 1 and 2 record for them this weekend.
I'm going to go 2 and 1 for Oklahoma just because I'm going to believe the pitching. I definitely think they're going to beat Minnesota. I don't know how you guys are, but I am fascinated to see what Oregon State looks like. Remember, they're kind of independent. They're on their own island. They're playing literally anybody and everybody all over the country. What does that look like? Who knows? But I like the Witherspoon twins, and I think Carmichael's going to have a big weekend offensively in Round Rock.
Yeah. Look, Oklahoma's pitching. Lights out. The lineup's still pretty new. Not sure what we learned about Oklahoma last week. Hit the ball well. But again, hitting conditions, I think, were probably favorable. Not to mention they're not going to face the pitching like they'll see this weekend. By the way, if you were looking for pro prospects to watch, Ava Arquette at Oregon State, a transfer from Washington, could be a top 10 guy off the board, so keep an eye on him. I'm going to go with Alfred. I think you're playing 2 top 10 teams. I'd like to see a little bit more about Oklahoma. Would it surprise me if the Sooners won 2? With that pitching staff, of course not, but that's a pretty tall order this early in the season. But that's how you learn about your team. So, if the Sooners go in and take 2 this weekend or 3, then, as tough as we think this league is, it might even be worse than that. All right, let's move on. Next one, we have got Alabama playing in the Jacksonville Classic. Not as tough as the other one, but Coastal Carolina, a program that makes regionals a lot. Of course, your 2016 national champion. NC State ranked number 12 in Baseball America. And Ohio State, another team that made a coaching change, Justin Hare coming from Campbell to go to Ohio State, which has put some players in the bigs lately. Let's start with Alfred. Give me your pick on the outcome for the Crimson Tide this weekend and why.
Yeah, Alabama has impressed me a ton. I know they haven't played, some great competition yet. It's been, Bradley along with Alabama State, but nonetheless, they head into this field that is pretty tough. I mean, Coastal Carolina is a tough Sun Belt team. Everyone knows about their 2016 national championship. I know that's way in the rear view at this point, but still, that kind of lingers with them as a tough, gritty program as those Sun Belt teams are. You got Ohio State, who has Justin Hare from Campbell there, his first year as the coach. I think they have yet to win a game because they were swept by Arizona State, but they're still going to be a tough out. And then NC State, we know about them, an Omaha team from a year ago. I think Alabama surprises people. I'm going to go 2 wins here. Coastal was exposed a little bit this midweek against College of Charleston. They beat them 15-5. College of Charleston's a good team, by the way. But yeah, Coastal was exposed a little bit. I also think Alabama can beat Ohio State. They may have trouble with NC State. I'm going to pick the Wolfpack that game. But I think they get 2 wins otherwise. So 2 and 1 for the Crimson Tide this weekend in Jacksonville.
Copy and paste what Alfred just said.
Yeah.
Ohio State, new head coach. Remember, they made a coaching change like really, really late in the process, and also they're in the Big Ten. I kind of feel like there's only 2 to maybe 3 teams in that conference that care about baseball. NC State, by far the highest ranked team in this tournament. I think Alabama's going to have wins against Coastal and Ohio State, and then we'll kind of see what happens against NC State. Alabama, they've been able to tear the cover off the baseball, especially their last, looking at it here, their last or every game they played in this season, they've got double-digit hits and double-digit runs. So the offense has certainly come to play. I'm curious to see what they look like with the step up in competition, but I think they're going to go 2-1 this weekend.
Yeah, as you noted, they're really hitting the ball. Will Hodo had a great week. I think Norton and Staten, middle infield or infield transfers for them, did okay. They got Justin LeBron, an All-American. And this caught your eye, I think. One of you sent me this. Riley Quick, one of the guys in college baseball who went 99 or higher on the gun last week. Great to see him healthy. I think the most logical outcome is they win 2 out of 3. That NC State game on paper would appear to be the trickiest one. But, hey, you do that, you get 2 wins here for Alabama. You're going to be pretty happy. Okay, next up, last in the line of classics. We won't spend a ton of time on this one. But Missouri is playing at UCF actually today, I think. And the Tigers go to Vero Beach. They'll take on Florida A&M, Alabama State, and Southern in the Andre Dawson Classic. That's pretty cool. I'm watching for Missouri this weekend. Want to see what they do pitching-wise. They had a big injury or two before the season even started. Hey, Missouri last weekend, after getting bombarded on Friday night, losing 10-0, picked it up, played better, beat UConn, which I think was ranked in some places last week. Interested to see what the pitching depth looks like for Missouri over the weekend with that 4-game series, presuming today's played, which I guess it would be. It's in Florida. They're not going through 10-degree weather like the rest of us here in the South. Alfred, start us off. What's your most likely outcome for the Tigers this weekend?
Yeah, I wish we were doing this after the UCF game because I feel like that would give us a better feel for them. But I think they'll take 2 out of 3 here. I do think one of these schools down there will get them, just based off of the results you saw a little bit in Puerto Rico with Stetson. I think Stetson's a tougher mid-major than the teams they're playing this weekend. But still, I think that leads me to believe that they might drop a game. If they beat UCF pretty soundly, that might change for me. I think they might go 3-0 if that happens, and they might start to have some momentum. But right now, I'm going to go 2 out of 3. Guys that have stood out to me on the team, though, just because they don't get a lot of love. Brock Daniels, Cerna's been another guy who's been pretty good batting for them. So, yeah, I'm going to go 2 out of 3 here. I don't know who they lose to, but just based off of what I've seen, that leads me to believe that will happen.
Yeah, so I wish we knew what was going to happen in their midweek against UCF in Orlando. Okay, I'm gonna back up my Tigers here, guys. So I'm gonna say they're gonna go 3-0 in the field this weekend. So we had Garrett Jackson on, loved visiting with him. You can certainly see why he is able to recruit and do everything that he's been able to accomplish in all different aspects and phases of baseball. So I'm going to lean on Missouri here. They're staying on the road. I saw their softball coach was complaining about just how much snow and ice they get and just how tough it is. Yeah. And they just pinball back and forth. Like softball was on the road. They come home and they can't practice at all because there's snow and ice everywhere. And then they have to go back on the road and play a top 10 team. So it is tough and challenging baseball, softball wise for Missouri. I'm going to say they're going to go 3-0 just to build them some confidence. And they did bounce back after losing to Penn State. So I'm going to say that they're going to sweep the tournament this weekend.
Yeah, interesting note here. Southern lost 13-1 at LSU this week, and Florida A&M and Florida, I think, were scheduled to play yesterday. Didn't see how that came out. So some SEC teams have already had a look at 2 of these teams. I'm going to go Missouri goes 3-1 on the road trip. I'll just throw UCF in there, see how it goes. Be a great start for Garrett Jackson to come back with 3 wins in his back pocket. We'll see how it goes. All right. Next series, I'm going to throw this to you, Alfred. Here's whether we're going to do these. I'm going to throw it to one of you guys, or I'm going to take it. Give me something you're looking for as a storyline. Give me your pick and then throw it to the other two of us. Number 4, Tennessee hosting Samford this weekend.
Sorry, Sam Smith. I doubt what you said happens, even if it was sarcastic. Guys, what I'm looking for is how much more can we get out of this offense, and how much more are we going to see from it? I mean, I'm not sure. I know Samford does put some good teams together, or tends to. That's not going to change what Tennessee does this weekend at all. I mean, to be quite honest, I'm looking for just, again, some reinforcement with the pitching. Can you see another great start out of Liam Doyle like he did on opening day? And also just offensively, can this team keep up? I'm not expecting them to do what they did against UNC Asheville, but can they keep up this power hitting fest that has been the common theme with Tony Vitello and his teams as of late? That's what I'm looking for, really, this weekend. And, yeah, obviously I think Tennessee's going to get an easy sweep here.
Yeah, same. Samford is a very good team out of the SoCon, but Tennessee's just on a different level. I want to see if their offense continues to play at this consistent level. And then also Liam Doyle. Remember, he threw less than 60 pitches in his first start of the season, and he hit 99. So, does that stay consistent? Is that what it looks like all season for him? I'm fascinated to see what that looks like. And remember, he struck out a career-high 11 last weekend. So what does he look like in addition to some of their other new arms that they got in their rotation? So, again, Tennessee is one of these teams, along with LSU and maybe one other, that have by far passed the eye test so far through the first 4 games or so.
Vols in a sweep?
Yep.
Vols in a sweep.
Yeah, I'm glad 60 pitches with 11 strikeouts on opening weekend when it's cold and you probably can't feel your fingers half the time was super impressive for Liam Doyle. That's a little bit of the offense gets a lot of attention, rightfully so, but I think that's what's making them potentially really scary is if Doyle, who's a potential first-round guy, throws like that. Yeah, I mean, look, Samford is a big step up in competition from what Tennessee's played, but I can't remember the last time Tennessee lost a game in a weekend series against a program that overmatched. That's the spot here again. Give me the Vols in a sweep. Okay, next one, Nebraska-Omaha, which is a team that's in a regional every now and then, going to number 3 LSU this weekend. I'll start us off this time with analysis and picks and just get picks from you guys. LSU's pitching. Those guys have walked, 3 or 4 guys all year. I didn't see how it came out after yesterday, but we pointed at 2 guys. Is that even through yesterday, Graham?
I haven't looked what they did yesterday. Yeah. I think, did they play? I thought they did cancel.
There was 9 games yesterday. There was nothing going on.
Okay, last game was Southern on Tuesday then. But anyway, here's the point. I think LSU sneakily might be the best team in the country. I want to see how the pitching goes. Want to see, can they keep all these guys happy? We talked about Zach Cowan. I don't think Zach Cowan threw a pitch until the Southern game 4. Kid threw 110 innings for Wofford a year ago. I just want to see what some of these arms look like. Then we get a chance. LSU is got juggernaut potential here. Omaha might be a little better than some of what these teams are facing, but who are we kidding? Tigers going to sweep.
Tigers sweep.
Yep. Sweep. And then they want to close the season in Omaha. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Donovan, we'll get to your question at the very end if we got time. I've got a football live stream coming up at 11, so we're going to blow through these. All right, next up, let's go. St. Mary's at Vanderbilt. Again, that's not one of the easier opponents on the slate this weekend. St. Mary's a pretty decent baseball program. For Vandy, I'm watching how Chris McElvain throws. Didn't go well last week. I'm also watching to see, do they get a couple of guys back in the lineup? Do we see Brody Johnston? Here, he's close. He's maybe the best player on the team as a true freshman. When do they get Mike Mancini back? Those are some things to watch. I'll take Vandy. I don't think it'll be a sweep. Give me the Doors 2 out of 3.
I'm going to also go Vandy 2 out of 3. I've liked the way they've recovered since the Nebraska loss, and I think it's a very good-looking 2 out of 3 wins.
Yeah, I'm saying they win the series, taking 2 out of 3, and I mean nobody knows Vandy better than Chris. How many? Do you ever think about how many times you've seen Vandy play in person?
It's hundreds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different bunch. I don't think they're at the top of the mountain like the top 5 or 6 teams in the league, but they got some talent, and that's why I think this weekend's interesting for them. If McElvain throws like the ace that he was thought to be coming into the weekend, then I think, maybe the gap narrows. But if he doesn't, I don't see them making it up. I think that's why that's key. All right, quickly, because we got about 8 minutes. Missouri State at Mississippi State. Can the Bulldogs score again? I mean, of course they can score again. They got shut out against Southern Miss. I will take Mississippi State in a sweep over Missouri State, but it won't be easy.
Ox says Hail State. I say Hail State. Give them the sweep. Maybe one game's close because of that Southern Miss game, but I think they also sweep. I'm with you, Chris.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dogs win again. Get ready to see that flag roaming in the outfield. Aaron Downs, really good start to the season for Mississippi State. What does their pitching look like? Remember, I kind of think they're going to mix things up, especially early in the non-con, just to kind of see what they got. But they got newcomers and guys coming back from an injury. Curious to see what that looks like this weekend. And remember, Missouri State, they had a head coach. I think he was the longest tenured head coach in the country. He just retired. So they got a brand new head coach and coaching staff. So Missouri State starting over in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, traditionally a decent program. They've been to many regionals, I think. Jake Berger, Major League third baseman, played there. So they've had some dudes. He was a first-round pick a few years back, I believe. Okay, quickly, let's move through these. Eastern Kentucky at Ole Miss. Graham, give us a thing to watch. We'll do picks and move on to the next one.
Yeah, so definitely picking Ole Miss in a sweep here. What I'm looking for, Owen Pano, the true freshman shortstop for the Rebels. He only has one hit so far this season. So what does he look like this weekend? Want to see him. And then another freshman that they got is Hayden Federico. Hasn't really started every game this season, but he's made the most of his opportunities, so much so that I do think that he'll get some starts this weekend, and I want to see how that translates. So I want to watch the two true freshmen, and then Hunter Elliott. This will be his first home game to pitch at in Swayze Field in over 2 years, so I'm sure that will be a cool and emotional moment for him.
I'll go Ole Miss sweep as well. They keep the momentum rolling.
Rebels sweep. All right, I'm going to just take these all off the top. I'll give you my picks, then I'll go Graham Alfred this time. Kentucky goes to Belmont. That is at Belmont. That's in Rose Park, which is kind of a public park near campus. I've been to games there before. If you get a chance to go, you are right on top of the action, and it's pretty cool. Like there's almost no foul territory behind home plate. And I think it's a little bit of a bandbox too. The wind may blow one way or the other.
It's legit. Like the view is downtown Nashville behind the Central Wall. It is awesome.
It's a fun place to watch games. Belmont is a program that's in a regional, I feel like, every third year. I feel like we didn't get a chance to really know what Kentucky was last week, just playing 2 games. I think Kentucky wins, but Belmont may take one. Give me Kentucky 2 out of 3.
I'm gonna go Kentucky sweep. Obviously they're well rested. They've played 2 games. I know the road test is tough, but Belmont's 0-4. I don't know who they've played, but that pops out to me. So Kentucky sweep.
I'm going Kentucky sweep as well. To me, they played the least amount of games in the SEC, only 2 games, just an incomplete. I mean, I'm curious to see what they look like top to bottom, all aspects, offensively and pitching wise. But I do think they'll take care of business in Nashville.
Okay, we got 6 more. Let's do these each in about 30, 45 seconds. Wright State goes to Auburn. That is another program that's a good mid-major. Tyler Black, who's a major leaguer, was first-round pick there just a couple years back. Wright State, a perennial regional team. Auburn struggling a little bit. I'll go Tigers 2 out of 3, but again, won't be easy.
Yeah, Donovan, I'll go because he's watching us. I'll go Tigers 2 out of 3 too. That upset against Holy Cross still lingers a little bit with me. I think they take the series, but again, Wright State's usually a good team. That usually puts good teams together. So I'll do Auburn 2 out of 3.
All right, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to get you, Graham.
I was just going to say I'd take Auburn as well. And Donovan, if you want to watch somebody, you want to watch Ike Irish, the catcher.
Absolutely.
He's a high first-round draft pick. He's the one to watch if you're an Auburn fan.
I also think Cooper McMurray, their first baseman, might be the most underrated player in the league. Doesn't get a lot of attention because of Irish, but he's a really, really good hitter. Okay, next one, Dayton going to Florida. Jason King, Dayton's head coach last year, now the hitting coach at Vanderbilt. Not a pushover, but not one of the better probably mid-majors on this schedule. Florida, I love what I saw out of the Gators pitching starting last week, and I want to see what they get out of bullpen arms. I think they've only thrown 10 guys so far. You're going to need more than that. Give me the Gators in a sweep and keep an eye on the pitching depth. Graham?
Sweep. Get the brooms out.
Will Brody Donay keep hitting home runs? Gators sweep.
Yeah, our resident Brody Donay hype man. You had to get that in, of course. That was the most predictable thing on this video. Okay, Milwaukee going to South Carolina. Not a program that I know much about. Liked what I saw out of Carolina's pitching last week, and offense has been off to a little bit of a slow start, but give me the Gamecocks in a sweep.
Nathan Hall had 4 hits last night against Queens. Can he keep that up this weekend? South Carolina gets the sweep.
Yeah, South Carolina sweep. I want to see Ethan Petrie start to tear the cover off the baseball and get off to the level that we know that he can play at. So South Carolina in a sweep.
Okay, Cal Poly at Texas A&M again. Those West Coast programs are a step up in competition from what you're seeing on most of the weekends. Cal Poly had a shortstop that went top 10, maybe top 5 in the draft a couple years ago. I've gone blank on the name, but point is they do produce some pro talent from time to time. Still, it's A&M. Who are we kidding? Would have liked to see a little better out of the Aggies last week, but give me A&M in a sweep.
Yeah, A&M in a sweep, and they outscore them by a lot.
Yes, I'm with Alfred, and then this will be the most people that Cal Poly plays in front of probably all season long combined.
All right, last two. Sorry. I'm rushing this because I get out of here. Last two, UIC at Georgia, 4-game series starting Thursday. Again, UIC, a mid-major. Curtis Granderson went there. Donated a lot of money to their programs. Tougher mid-major than some are facing. Give me Georgia 3 out of 4. Dartmouth at Texas. Love what I've seen out of Texas. Give me Texas as a sweep. What do you guys say here?
Both sweeps. I think Georgia gets a really impressive sweep, and then I think Texas does the same and continues to show us why they're an Omaha contender.
Yeah, sweep for Georgia. Remember, this is the first game at Foley Field this season with the new renovations, so I'm curious to see what that looks like, and then Texas sweep as well.
All right, guys, I've got to run to a football live stream that I'm going to be on as soon as I can get it set up. Chase Robinson and I are going to be talking about the college football playoff format that's being discussed. I think Trey Wallace is going to join us. So anyway, let me end this, get to that. Thanks for watching SEC baseball content here at Southeastern 16. We'll see you again soon.